Hey, this is Brian, wanting to let you know that the Movie Film Podcast now has a Patreon. If you head over to patreon.com/moviefilmpodcast and hit subscribe for only $5 a month, you'll gain access to a special feed where you'll find every commentary we've ever recorded and every episode we do moving forward, ad-free and without any interruptions. We are very grateful for our sponsors, and our free feed isn't going anywhere. But we wanted to offer an option we believe is the most satisfying way to enjoy the show. No ads, no interruptions. Your subscription will also go a long way in helping to support us and helping to sustain production of this show. So, if you're interested and able and want to enjoy the most satisfying way to enjoy the podcast, please head over to patreon.com/moviefilmpodcast and subscribe. We'd be very grateful. And now, on with the show.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio. Welcome to Movie Film. It's episode 331, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. I'm Zachy Hassan. I'm here with Brian Hall.
Hey, how's it going, Zachy?
Happy December, Brian.
Wow, yes, happy December. Last we talked, it was before Thanksgiving. No, it was Thanksgiving. When we recorded the GoldenEye commentary.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
2025 is about to enter the history books.
Wow. You know, it's been a good year, but I will say November, was it just me or did that go by in a blink of an eye?
Very much so. Yeah.
I mean, it's been a pretty fast year for me, but November, I don't even remember it. I keep thinking it is November right now.
Well, I will just say, remember November. Just all of November. It doesn't have to be the 5th of November. Just remember it all.
I'll try what I can remember of it.
It was a good month.
It was a good month.
But yeah, to your point, it has been a good year. Let me couch that. It's been a good year for movies.
Yeah, I think so.
I think as far as just everything else, as I gesture broadly at the the flaming wreck of society, that's kind of I'm kind of torn on that. But certainly movie wise, entertainment wise, there have been some prime choice options out there.
You know, I was just talking to someone recently about movies you like this year, and sometimes you think, and you try to recall the year, but I was like, oh man, I mean, One Battle After Another, Weapons, Superman. Sinners, Companion, like all these movies just started coming to me. I was like, yeah, it was a pretty stacked year. We had a new Naked Gun movie that was good.
That's right.
A new Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
I agree. Good year.
You've watched a lot of TV lately.
Yeah, I have a handful of things I want to cover. So I'll make TV a bit of a lightning round, but, I just want to. I haven't referenced this yet, but I've been watching The Chair Company.
Ah, yes, Tim Robinson's new thing.
Yeah, which is just wrapped up, and it's funny because I didn't see it the night it aired, but I got multiple texts from different people saying, "Did you catch the Chair Company finale?" And so I was like, "Okay, there must be something here that I need to check out." But have you seen this?
I have not. I've been seeing the little tile on it's on HBO, right?
Yeah.
So that's beckoning towards me.
So it's interesting. Tim Robinson has for his humor is so immediately recognizable, but it's interesting how different his projects can feel, right? Because Detroiters, which is wonderful, and I highly recommend to anybody who likes Tim Robinson. It's very bright and upbeat and sweet, and about these two best friends. Maybe one of my favorite things he's done. I Think You Should Leave is very fun and silly, a sketch show, but it can also lean into the like super strange. And The Chair Company, I swear, literally, it's like Tim Robinson in a David Lynch movie.
Okay.
So, like if David Lynch made a comedy with Tim Robinson, which is to say it has comedic moments and it has very Robinson, flares where it's like this guy who becomes obsessed with things to a kind of funny degree and then to an almost scary degree. But there's just this otherworldliness that's, humming underneath all of it. And it's been like that the whole season. But then in the finale, it just like goes full, like, I keep David Lynch. I use as a shorthand. I mean, obviously, it has its own voice, but I mean, just that. Ooh, this supernatural, kind of a thing, and just even the sound design. One of the big things with David Lynch films is this very subtle, slightly unnerving, sounds coming out of the rear speakers where you just don't feel comfortable and you don't know why, and it's because there's this weird thrumming happening or something, and there's a lot of that going on in this. But the premise, I'll say real fast, is Tim Robinson plays a guy who's on stage at a presentation at his work, and he sits on a chair when he's done speaking, and the chair breaks on stage, and everyone laughs, and then they move on, but he cannot move on. And he's like, why did that chair break? Right? Yeah.
That's either the premise of a 3-minute sketch or
yes,
an entire series.
Well, so then it sends him down this rabbit hole where he is finding a potential conspiracy that takes over his life. That's basically what the show is about. And like I say, this isn't the Detroiters. This is like darker kind of friendship, that kind of more uncomfortable sort of thing. And it's interesting. I honestly can't say that I loved it, but I was constantly intrigued by it. Like I did want to keep watching because it was so, you just literally could never predict what was going to happen next. But I also at the same time can't say that I like loved it. You know what I mean? But and it got renewed for a season 2, and I will absolutely be watching it because I have to see what happens next, and I am intrigued by it, and I love that I don't know what to expect, and that it will surprise me and probably disturb me and make me laugh and all of those things. So it's a weird, it gives me a weird feeling, and maybe that's the best compliment I can give it because I think that's what it's going for. So Chair Company, very curious for people out there who've been checking that out if they want to write in their opinions, because it's something you definitely feel like you want to talk about after you witness it. Real quick, I also want to mention, I mean, I'll just say real fast, I'm still watching Pluribus on Apple TV Plus. New one dropped today. I love this show. It's just, the mystery of what's going on. You are continually pulled along through it. The way that it unfolds is just so Vince Gilligan, where there's a lot of process. People will be in the middle of doing something that's very process oriented and you don't quite know what they're doing. And it gets revealed eventually, but you're just so riveted by what's happening that you want to know what's happening, And then of course there's a big, I won't even get into it for people who haven't started it, but there's a big sort of mystery that's happening, and we're continuing to learn about it. And I continue to be fascinated by it and loving Ray Seahorn. And I can't wait to watch it tonight. So Pluribus, still high recommend.
And I am looking forward to finally diving into that series.
Yes. And you know what? Severance, which was on Apple TV Plus, is another sort of what the heck is going on kind of show. And that is, I think, the only show I've ever binged the entire season in one day.
Wow. And
I feel like Pluribus would be a really great show to be able to binge.
Okay.
Because you just want to keep going and going. And I don't know, it moves at like an interesting rate where it's always intriguing, but I am always thirsty for more, which obviously is a success on their behalf. But like it's really hard for me when it ends. I'm like, no, I have to wait a week. What is this, 1988? But anyway, real quick, I'll just cover just a couple of movies, because then I have another TV show that you and I can talk about together, and these will be kind of fast. But I just want to acknowledge I saw Wicked for Good. Acknowledge? Did that reveal how I felt about it? I got to acknowledge I saw Wicked for Good. No, I saw Wicked for Good. Have you seen either Wicked movies?
Not as of yet.
Okay.
So are you now done with Wicked for Good?
Well, Universal certainly won't be. I think I said with the first one, I'd never seen the musical. I like musicals. I'm not opposed to them. I would actually still like to see the musical Wicked, because I think I'd like to see it in its original form as one complete piece. I'm curious what that experience would be like. The first one, I was like, this is fun. It didn't, get much more out of me than that. But I was there with people who were wearing green and pink and singing along. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, it seems like the fans really love it, and they love the casting and the interpretation, so that made me happy. Wicked for Good, I was looking forward to because I don't think this is a spoiler, but this is the portion of the story where the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy and the Tin Man and the Scarecrow, now is happening in the background, like in tandem with the Wicked story. So I was really looking forward to that. And I will say that that's probably the parts I enjoyed most.
Okay.
I don't know. I just can't completely find my way into this. It's pretty to look at, and I don't know. I just never quite found my way in. But whenever it did, Dorothy would sort of be in the background, or they'd be, like there's a moment where Elphaba and Glinda meet in front of the house that's crashed on the witch, with the slippers, and Dorothy's already left. So I was like, oh, the house, the Yellow Brick Road, when it started becoming things I recognized, and then they were building out from the things that I knew, that was the stuff that I was most like, hey, that's fun. But yeah, I saw that even reviews and maybe even some fans are feeling like a little not as enthusiastic about this one. And just by virtue of this isn't really a complete tale. It really is like the ending of the thing that started last year. So maybe we'll never feel wholly satisfying, but I could see someday watching maybe both back to back, like a couple years from now, and just seeing how they feel as a whole. But like I kept thinking of, people who are getting excited about it. Oh, they added that song, or, oh, this is that thing that's in the stage play and they do it this way. It reminded me of how it must feel for someone who doesn't know anything about Star Wars.
Sure.
And when the whole world seems to be obsessed with something, and you're like, in the new movie, they, name checked Chewbacca's cousin, and like everyone went crazy, but I don't know why, but I would understand that. But that person would feel on the outside. Now I finally feel on the outside of something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I'm glad they're enjoying it. But
okay, so kind of a mixed reaction at best.
Yeah, I didn't mind watching it, but I can't say I got super into it either, unfortunately. Yeah. Two more real fast. I saw the movie Sentimental Value. Have you heard of this?
This one, it sounds familiar. Refresh my memory.
This is one that's now this time of year, a lot of movies are coming out. They're like awards hopeful movies, right? Yeah. And this is one that kept coming up. And I just knew that it had Stellan Skarsgård in it and Elle Fanning, and that's all I knew. And
this is what I was thinking of. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, I didn't even know the story, and I'm going to say a little bit more than IMDb says because it's very, very big.
Does Stellan Skarsgård lug around half of Elle Fanning on his back for the movie?
No, but I was thinking she's had quite a year, and seeing her quite a month. Yeah, I was gonna say seeing her made me happy, and I was like, oh, she's really popping up in a lot of things that I'm watching, and she's a welcome presence. She's very cheerful, and so anyway, the plot that I don't think really spoils anything, but basically it's a family drama about an absentee father played by Skarsgård, who's a film director, and he wants his daughter to play a role in his newest movie that the story seems to be vaguely about his ex-wife. Okay. Or no, I'm sorry, his mother. It's vaguely about the director Skarsgård's mother, but it also has some elements like family elements that make the daughter uncomfortable because he's, like I say, he's kind of an absentee father. She feels uncomfortable with it. So then he goes to this known actress played by Elle Fanning. And it's just, how does this make everyone feel? How does that even make the actress feel? She's being kind of brought into this family drama kind of stuff. And it's a very grounded human drama. Okay. Just about relationships and the effects of trauma and even generational trauma. And it's just really solid. It's just a real good human story. Okay. And it's very well acted. Something it did really well, I thought it captured like the nuance of dynamics between people. So Elle Fanning is, as we are to understand it, like one of the biggest actresses in the world. Everyone knows who she is. Okay. But she's in awe of Skarsgård, who we first meet as this kind of crummy father. But when she meets him, she's like, oh, you made that that movie that like changed my life. And so she really reveres him. And so we get to see how the daughters look at him, but then we also see how this actress looks up to him as a director, and then how he has to be delicate around his daughters, but then he can sort of be this, wise sage sort of figure to the actress. And like, it gave me these feelings that I didn't even identify them, just about how I feel in the presence of different types of people.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of amazing how well they captured that sort of thing. And that's very important to the story, how everyone feels about each other and in the presence of one another.
Right.
It's really mature. It's a little over 2 hours. It's interesting because it takes its time. And it's paced in such a way. And I had this thought, and I have to admit it. I was like, oh, I felt like I was watching a really great TV show, which I was like, that's so sad.
And it just what you're describing sounds like a season of one of these prestige streaming shows.
100%. And strangely, that's kind of a compliment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not like a big, a lot of punches in it as a movie within 2 hours. Like, it just feels like you're watching a great series kind of unfold at its pace in a way that keeps you engaged, and you are invested in each character equally, and you want to see them come out the other side together. Sentimental Value is really good. I can't say like, oh man, like this is going to sweep all the awards. Go catch this while this is in theaters. But this is like a solid human drama for an evening you're in the mood for that.
Stellan Skarsgård, man, here's a guy who I feel like does not get nearly enough credit for how consistently good he is.
He is so effortless in this, at what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's I mean, everybody is good. Oh, and I should say, I'm going to say this name incorrectly, but Renate Reinziv, with apologies to Renate Reinziv. But I believe she was in a movie called The Worst Person in the World.
Okay.
Which I know a lot of people really loved. And I think this is a second collaboration between her.
It's about Quentin Tarantino, right?
Oh, yeah, we should get to that. Yeah. But yeah, her and this director worked before on that, I believe.
Okay.
And she plays the daughter in here, and she's very, very good. She's doing a lot of subtle things that involve a lot of complicated feelings. It's very good. Just you're settling in for like a patiently paced human drama, but like if you're in the mood for that, you're going to get a lot out of this. Like, great performances, interesting story. I enjoyed it. So
okay,
recommend. And then finally, I saw a movie that I feel like just was a blip, but it's called Rental Family.
Yeah, I just got the screener for this, so I'm actually very much looking forward to watching it.
This is just a nice movie. I mean, basically, maybe I will read the IMDb one to try to sum this up. But basically, it says Brendan Fraser plays an American actor in Tokyo, struggling to find purpose and acting gigs, and he lands an unusual gig working for a Japanese rental family agency where he stands in various roles for strangers. So he'll pretend to be someone, will hire him to be like, tell this girl you're her long lost father because she needs this right now. Or like a woman will need her family to believe she's getting married. And so they hire him to pretend to be the husband, even though that's not true. Like, so he's doing these acting roles, but they're actually, affecting people's lives or making people believe certain things that aren't exactly true. And it's funny because in some ways it's kind of sweet, but in other ways you're lying to a lot of people.
You're manipulating people.
And even if the person who hired you, that's what they want, it's like, this can affect people's lives. Yeah. And it's very sweet is ultimately the feeling of this movie. I'd call it a dramedy, but it's very sweet. I almost even thought kind of Frank Capra-esque in a way.
Wow.
And I mean, I don't mean to go that far, but it's just in the terms that it's
that's high praise.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very light and it really means well. And it's trying to shine a light on just being positive forces in other people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you might make mistakes, but how can you correct those mistakes? You know what I mean? Like it almost, and I guess I think of Capra because in a way that almost feels old fashioned.
Right.
Right. I will say it's not particularly deep.
Okay.
You don't necessarily dig in as much as I imagine you could with some of these things. It is, you know, pretty, I don't know, like there are consequences, but everything kind of happens and it's nice and light and then it's a little dark, but we'll get out of that and we'll just, you know what I mean? Like it just kind of breezes past.
Yeah.
But maybe that's okay because then you walk out and you get to enjoy a version of this story that you walk out feeling good.
Okay.
And I enjoyed my time with it. So I think this is probably not going to be in theaters much longer, unfortunately.
I feel like
but I
already
think for people looking
and
for like a nice, you know, where Sentimental Value is a little bit more of a drama, but very human and very much about the characters and how they feel even more so maybe than the story. I would say this is similar, but a little bit more sweet and breezy.
When I saw the trailer, the thought I had was I felt like it was a great showcase for what makes Brendan Fraser a unique performer. Because he's just he's sort of effortlessly likable.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also like really benefited from these smaller type of films, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had his blockbuster moment, but like his best performances are the ones where he gets to just be a person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm thinking of School Ties and, you know, Gods and Monsters and, you know, even The Quiet American, which is a much darker character for him. But I mean, you know, he is a very good actor.
Yeah.
And so my thought was, I'm glad that he used his post-Oscar moment to lean into actorly stuff.
Totally. And I think he's a producer on this.
Yeah. That's great.
But you know, he's a gentle giant.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's very big. He has a big frame.
Yeah.
You know, but he's also unquestionably sweet.
Right.
You know, you never question that he has any bad intentions or there's like a darkness lurking. Like he just wants, in this movie especially, I mean, that's what I think he brings to a lot of things, but in this movie especially, he's just a guy who's got some things he needs to work through himself, but he just wants to make everybody's life better, and he worries at times if he really is. And he just the sweetness and soulfulness that Brendan Fraser has and those kind of big eyes of his definitely make him perfect for this story. So I think you'll like it. I think I'd say it's like mostly family friendly. There's like a moment where he's visits a prostitute, but it's not like, it's really more about them talking to one another. Like there's nothing graphic, but I would say this is a pretty nice movie that most people would enjoy, you know.
Well,
together.
In that vein, before we move on, I wanted to mention, speaking of nice, you know, good-hearted characters, I wanted to mention Zootopia 2.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Which, man, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. You know, I don't think it's as good as the first one. You've seen Zootopia, right? The first one?
I did, yeah.
I think Zootopia, the first one was just a diamond. I think it's one of the best Disney movies of the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think both those two characters, Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde, they are, to me, as instantly iconic as Buzz and Woody were when we got that first Toy Story, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, you know, I think Judy Hopps is just adorable and relatable, and she's somebody you wish you could be like.
Right.
Because she's so good-hearted. Yeah, tenacious, and exactly, you know? And so, you know, I remember when they announced Zootopia 2, I was like, well, I get it. But I was like, we don't need it, you know? But that's never stopped Disney. But it's always like, well, hopefully the fact that they waited so long to make it, they didn't just crank it out, was an indication that they waited for the right story. Right. I think they did, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's a very solid follow-up, and it's just, you know, the great chemistry between, you know, Ginnifer Goodwin and Jason Bateman as Nick and Judy, and and it's just nice. I think you leave the theater feeling good.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need that.
Well, it's makes me think of like Wreck-It Ralph or something also, where it's another world and they mine as much as possible out of that, right?
Yeah.
Like sort of doing funny one-to-ones from our world to what their world is like. Or like, what if it was a world of all animals, and how is that similar to ours, and what kind of jokes can we make? And that's I had heard about this one. It's like that too, where there's just so much going on creatively.
There's one beat, and I wouldn't consider this a spoiler. There's one moment that's a very clever homage to The Shining, which what I loved about it is that to me, it's like those great Simpsons gags from when we were kids, where you don't even know it's a thing until you see the real thing later. And so I was like jealous of all the kids who are going to watch this movie completely oblivious, and then they'll watch The Shining way later and just appreciate the genius of this gag all over again.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Obviously, those sorts of things from The Simpsons meant so much to us.
Yeah, exactly. So this movie, unfortunately, part of the reason Rental Family made, like $8.70 at the box office was because between Zootopia 2 and Wicked for Good, all the money was getting hoovered up. But at least in the case of Zootopia, I'll say, it's worth seeing in the theater, and it was worth the wait.
Great. I'm in the mood for that. I want to see something fun and poppy and sweet.
You will enjoy it. I don't see you not liking it.
Okay. I might have to revisit the first one though. It's been a minute.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this isn't exactly Stranger Things where there's like a labyrinthine mythology. You can get the highlights. Speaking of Stranger Things.
Oh.
so they dropped the first 4 episodes of the final season this past week. Netflix crashed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Within hours. But were you able to watch the episodes?
I did, yes, because I didn't watch them right away.
Okay.
But yes, I did, and I was reading this morning just how wildly successful it's been. I mean, this show has just always been like reaped so many amazing things for Netflix, right? Like, it's been consistent. It's not like it's even waned. I mean, this is their final season. It's not like there's been a drop off. It's like their highest debut or something.
That's the most interesting thing to me, because this was the conversation we were having in our last episode. Like, are they sort of kiboshing the enthusiasm of the fan base by having these long gaps? And I guess clearly the answer is no.
And I know, and we have talked about that in past episodes, that's a downside of modern TV, right? Yeah. Where, I really enjoy those Seth Rogen shows, right? Studio and Platonic, but I doubt I'll see another season for another 2 years, Right. So but obviously there was a lot of things working against Stranger Things, strikes and COVID and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But speaking of its popularity, I mean, I think I sent a thing to you where they're going to show the finale in theaters. Right. And so on New Year's Eve, and in my head, I was like, oh, New Year's Eve. I don't know. Like, who knows what's going on that day? I don't know. But anyway, I got a notification that tickets were available. And just out of curiosity, I wanted to see how many seats had been sold. Yeah. And so I go over there, sold out. Like, it's all sold out. So I was like, whoa, okay. So the 8 p.m. is sold out. So I looked, they had 4 showings. All 4 showings on New Year's Eve sold out. It's completely, like every seat. And so I was like, whoa. So then later I went back and I saw they had added times. Wow. And those were sold out.
Man.
So, I mean, obviously we like it. There's a lot of people that like it, but I do wonder if this is in particular with maybe a specific generation,
right?
Something that they came up with, and this is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like I sense that a little bit online. There's like a certain generation that kind of grew up with this and is.
Well, I mean, yeah, it could, because we're talking about roughly 10 years since the show started, right?
So that's wild. 10 years.
Kids have grown up with the main characters.
Mm-hmm.
Although the main characters are like basically the same age on the show, but still, because I have kids in my classes were like I was in middle school when it started, you know, and they're in college now, right?
Wow.
I wrote a little piece for the paper about these new episodes, and what I said in that is that as it's working towards the end, there's a little bit of a feeling like, okay, we're getting like things are starting to wrap up now, and it's sort of like you're feeling nostalgic for this whole experience. You know, and that made me think, like, you know, when this is all said and done, and let's stipulate that they don't completely shit the bed at the end of the which could happen. I said, well, they could Game of Thrones this thing,
Sure.
but let's assume it's like a satisfying ending. Then the whole conversation people have with with Stranger Things is going to be very different, because it's going to be these, you know, this completed thing. It's not this thing that we're waiting several years to see the next thing, you know. So like, from now on, it's going to be viewed holistically. And that's going to be something completely different.
Yep.
You know?
Well, what do you think of their strategy of not dropping all of the episodes on one day? They're doing 2 volumes, you know, one in November, one in December, and then the finale as a third drop on New Year's Eve. I mean, how do you... what do you make of that?
I actually think in this particular instance, it's smart, because, you know, we're not waiting 6 months at a time. So like, right, like if it was, oh, the next 3 are in March and then July 1st, the final,
Sure.
I'd be a little more circumspect about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, this is in essence, this is like, you know, it's as if the episodes were being released weekly, but just with different gaps in between, you know?
My read on it was, I had heard the Duffer Brothers talk about making these shows and being like, I mean, we're making like 8 movies.
Yeah.
Some of these episodes are 90 minutes.
That's right.
You know, that's like a feature film, and longer, I think. Yeah. And I'm wondering if they were like, we can't make 8 freaking movies and just have them drop on one day.
Right.
And then next week, everyone's talking about something else. Like, if this is the end and we've put in this much work, we need these to be people to digest them a little bit. Right. And so I wonder if that was part of the conversation. Like, okay, then put like this chunk, give it a little space, then they can appreciate that chunk, you know, and then it doesn't just become one big gobble.
I definitely agree with that. I also think that the nature of where the 4th episode left things, it's like, give us a little breather and then let's get back into it, as opposed to waiting longer than that. You know? I think, you know, what is it, about 3 weeks, right? 4 weeks, whatever. That's like the right amount of time, you know?
I gotta say, I mean, we haven't really said what we think about it, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I have one left in the first batch.
Oh, you haven't watched the... Oh.
You know why, though? Like, I've been spacing it because I want to savor.
Yeah.
When I started it up, it had been obviously however many years since the last one. And there was part of me that was like, oh, this show is like actually like cornier than I remember. But then it, like right off the, you know, when it started, but then I was like, oh yeah, but like, I love that about it. Yeah. Like, I love the goofiness of these characters and the way that they interact with each other. And it's kind of cheesy, but like in the best possible way. And it's also genuinely scary.
Right.
And it has a totally singular tone. Like, this doesn't feel like kind of like it. It doesn't feel kind of like this. Like, obviously it's a big pastiche in a lot of ways, but it really does have its own voice. And I was really happy to be back in it. And so, yeah, I didn't want to just gobble them all down in one night. I've been kind of spacing them out.
Right. I mentioned in my article that I think the show has grown beyond pastiche at this point, right? It's created a mythology all its own, and it's, you know, and it's going to end up inspiring future generations.
You know, I feel like they've found a brilliant balance where I think, without saying spoilers, but I think it's particularly episode 2, huge Poltergeist vibes.
Yes.
Like, just straight up, like, visually, like, whoa, damn, Poltergeist, you know? But I think you're right. Like they don't lean on those things. Those are almost like little Easter eggs, kind of a weird alternate version of what you were talking about with Zootopia and The Shining. You know what I mean? Where we get to
Right.
watch this, and for people of our generation, we go, I should show my kids Poltergeist.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that's
Yeah.
not. Those aren't crutches. They do
Yeah.
have. It's not leaning on that stuff. That's just a fun little thing that happens as a part of a much larger story that is very much its own thing.
Yeah, and I think the mythology holds together pretty well.
Yeah.
And I feel like what I always think about is like Lost, which just stretched itself too thin, trying to go longer and longer. And it I don't feel like we've hit that place. Not particularly with this show. I mean, there's moments where it feels like, okay, let's wrap it up, But I think overall, it's paced itself pretty well,
I think so, and I think we mentioned this in a past episode, but I feel like this is my memory, and this could be like a symptom of me watching all the episodes in one day and then not thinking about it for like 2 years, and then another one comes. But I remember the upside down and sort of I remember that big spidery sort of ominous creature, seeing it over Hawkins. And I'm like, this is great imagery. This is scary. I know we need to defeat that, but I can't say I completely understand this. Like, I'm not sure I understand the threat or what it wants or what it means if it wins, or that's my memory of it. But I feel like in season 4, they did a really great job of being like, bringing all that into a sharper focus,
right?
Where it's like, this is the bad guy. He's got a name, he's got a persona, and there's, and this is what he wants, and this is what this means for the town. So I think that's, as they've gone along, it's gotten stronger, I think, the mythology. Yeah. And so now I totally get it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they conquer it, save the day this season.
I do find it amusing that just some of the online discourse. One thing I sent this to you earlier, where we have Lucas makes a reference to Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
And people online are like, how does Lucas know about Mission Impossible? It came out in 1996. The show is, of course, set in like 1987. And I just look at that and I just kind of weep for humanity. Right? Because okay, so for those of you listening, I'm sure you all know this. Mission Impossible was a television show in the 1960s into the 70s. It existed well before the movie came out, right? Now, it's okay to not know that. That's fine, right? Because there's plenty of things, there are plenty of gaps we all have in our pop culture memory. My thought is, why don't you just Google it, right? Like, it's never been easier to find shit out.
Do you find, just generally speaking, that a lot of people don't tend to Google stuff as much as I think you and I do? Like, when I don't know something, or, sometimes, and this isn't like a put down or anything, but sometimes people will be like, oh man, this happened and I don't know what it is. I'm like, Google it. Like, I that's my first thing when my faucet's leaking, Google it. Like, I don't know. That's such like my go-to mode that I'm always surprised that people don't think of that right away.
It's very odd, right? Because maybe it's just because we remember the before times, like pre-Google,
sure,
where you would have a question about something and you would just never know the answer.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I talk about this all the time, during the pandemic when my wife and we were going through ER, the entire ER series, there'd be episodes where like some person is a patient and be like, hey, who's that guy? And then I'd pull out my phone, and within 3 seconds, I'm like, oh, that's the guy who was in the thing with the thing and the other thing. Oh, okay. I was thinking about how there was a time when you'd be like, oh, hey, that guy looks familiar. Oh, well, I'll never know ever. And you're just like, I'll just never know that, right?
Yeah.
And now it's like we have access to every piece of information we could possibly want, and yet we have never been more lazy and unmotivated to just find stuff out.
Right.
And my point is, like, now, because of social media, you can put something like that out there, and you're gonna have people dunking on you like forever. And I'm like, well, if you don't know, just like, don't post about it what you don't know,
Sure.
Anyway, that was my thought, where I'm like, this makes me makes me sad.
It is strange. Yeah. I mean,
what's coming,
but I do feel like we're that cusp for that. Cause I remember my dad watching the, I don't know, not a remake, but it was like a follow-up, right? In the 80s.
Mm-hmm. The Mission Impossible series.
Yeah. This had Peter Graves in it. And that's how I became aware that there was one, from the 60s or whatever. So, but I wouldn't be surprised if people slightly younger than us didn't know that.
I mean, I can see not watching it and not having seen it, but like the notion of it existing, and then it's like that would be such a big error for a show like this to like it. Why not do the minimal amount of legwork to just make sure that your dunk is well founded?
Right. If you're going to go on the record and dunk. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Oh, no, go ahead.
No, that's all.
Well, we did a commentary and I said some sort of trivia thing because I'd read it somewhere and doing my research. And then we had someone write in and be like, actually, that's not entirely correct.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to be really good about that. And I wouldn't say it haunts me, but it is like now always in my mind.
Right.
So when I'm looking things up or if I'm going to say something on the show, I thought I had done my due diligence before, but now I really do make sure before I say something on the record, I want to make sure that I can back it up. you know?
Yeah. Well, in that vein, I got a message from Adam Ox, who listened to our, oh darn it, well, it was our GoldenEye commentary, and he pointed something out, a mistake that I can't remember what it was. But I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, I realized that after we had recorded, what was it? Oh, you know what it was? It was at MI5 versus MI6.
Mm-hmm.
And MI6, I alluded to it being fictional, and it's not. It's a real thing.
Oh.
And Adam said something to the effect of like, like I make those mistakes all the time, but mine aren't like, put on wax, so to speak.
Right.
And I was like, yeah. So kind of to your point, like, yeah, it's like we try to be good about that stuff, but yeah, sometimes it just slips out. But you feel awkward and embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
That it exists,
Yeah. Or do you find I do this all the time where I am trying to express the thought, and I'm like sitting here trying to find the words, and the second we hang up, I think of the most like concise, eloquent, perfect way to express myself, and I think, well, damn it.
Yeah.
Like, why
you have your jerk store moment.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, all the time. Just in life. That's not even confined to this show.
That's true.
Yeah. But hey, speaking of letters, we got a handful of letters, Brian.
Yeah.
Mail call!
I believe you have a letter for me.
18,000 letters, all addressed to Santa Claus.
You got mail. Thanks everybody who has written in. Here's a comment we got from Luke's Mail 24. This was on YouTube. And this was in reference to our last episode where we talked about the trailer for Moana, the live action Moana remake.
Yeah.
And Luke says, hey guys, I haven't seen the Moana live action trailer, but I just saw the trailer viewing numbers for it, and it had 132 million viewers in 24 hours. For people wondering why Disney are making this so soon after the original, there's your answer right there.
There it is.
Pretty hard to argue with that. Yeah.
I saw a funny thing I kept meaning to send to you and I didn't. I screen grabbed it. It was like a tweet or something where it was like, prepare yourself. And in a couple years, it'd be Zootopia. And it was a real rabbit and a real fox with like a tie. Oh. and they just look so like dead-eyed, like just these animals that don't know where they are. It was so perfect and probably true.
That feels very accurate. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a coming. So yeah, thank you for that. I think that those numbers put things in a certain amount of perspective.
You know what? If I was on the board of that company, you bet that'd get a yay from me.
Yeah. Hey, here's a note we got from Alex Naom, who emailed us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. He says, "G'day, you bloody bleeping drongos." I like like that. The cartoonish Aussie slang of my greeting belies the seriousness of what I wanted to write to you about.
Oh.
He says, to end the working week at home, I've been working through my hard drive of movies akin to channel surfing in the good old days, and when I embark on one of these adventures, I dip in and out of movies I held dear as a kid or young adult. We're talking films released at least 20 years ago. When I watch these films I hold so dear, I can't help but feel nostalgic for filmmaking styles I know are long gone. But I still feel a sense of sadness at the fact that they just do not make films like they used to, and that time may never come around again. I know you both hold dear to your heart those bygone eras of filmmaking, and I wonder how you reconcile with the fact that these eras are long behind us, and how you don't both just curl up in the fetal position day after day and wish for those happy times to be upon us once again. Forgive me if I'm speaking too deeply about what is, in essence, a form of pop entertainment. I hope you too and all your listeners are doing well. I'm so glad to have you both still podcasting and sharing your love of film and all things good and wholesome. I've spoken at you enough. What are some Christmas movies and TV shows you watch as traditions during the silly season? Well, let's go first A, then B, Brian.
Fetal position. Who says I'm not in one?
Yeah, I was about to say I'm recording in that right now. As a matter of fact, as far as wanting to revisit bygone eras, I did my like YouTube gave me like its 2025 wrap up thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's posting their Spotify thing. I don't really listen to Spotify enough, so I don't really have one. But YouTube, it's like my number one category, and I'm sure you would find this very predictable. Old commercials.
No, really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I believe that for you.
Old commercials, and then like number 2 or 3 is disaster videos, which is also
oh, like the hiking thing. Yeah.
I found this one guy. His name is Mr. Ballin.
Okay.
And I'm sure some folks listening to this show know that name. He's just this dude who finds these stories that have real things that happen, and nothing fancy, no production value. It's just him telling these stories.
Okay.
And damned if he doesn't tell it in the most compelling, gripping way possible. And I'll be damned if that MFR has not taken over my algorithm.
Like disaster stories?
Yeah, like things that happen to people. Yeah, like disaster stories. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to say it's easy listening, but it is one of those things where it's like, if it comes up, I just end up letting it play, and I sort of lean forward as I'm driving or whatever,
It would be like kind of fascinating getting to glimpse someone's algorithm.
Yeah.
Like the suggested thing on Instagram or whatever. Like, what the most specific thing that I keep getting right now is with Ringo of the Beatles, sometimes people will be like, he's not this very showy drummer. So like, was he really that good a drummer? And of course,
Marge Simpson would say very much in the affirmative.
Yeah. I mean, I think the correct answer is he was the right drummer for the Beatles.
There you go. Look at this guy.
Right? Like, I mean, all their songs sound exactly the way they should, and he's the one that provided those beats. But because of that notion, people have taken that and made jokes out of it, where it's basically like, how Ringo should have played, Penny Lane. And it's these like thrash metal drummers, like playing to Penny Lane, but doing like, but it is in beat. It's just extra, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I get those so many different versions of that same joke over and over and over in my algorithm. So that's like, it's just funny how that happens. But
yeah, I'm very cautious about things taking over my algorithm for exactly that reason, because I just like 2 weeks ago, I mentioned this to you. I had cataract surgery, and after I had the surgery, I went on YouTube to just be like, what happens during cataract surgery, like the actual procedure visualization. I didn't want to see that before because I didn't want to get needlessly freaked out. And I watched a video and it was fascinating. And then, wouldn't you know, put on YouTube, it's like top 5 regrets from cataract surgery. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
I wish I knew this before my cataract surgery. I'm like, nope.
Yep. Oh, dude. I put in something the other day where it was like, I don't remember what it was, but it's something about popping.
Okay.
I don't remember if it's like a popping noise or something about popping. And then it was all these like zit popping videos. And I was like, no.
That's a hard pass.
Yeah. I was like, don't invade my space. Like,
Give me some 80s commercials.
exactly. You have to correct
That's
it. Like,
that's my safe space.
now I have to be like Ringo heavy metal. Like, I'm kind of enjoying that.
I have said this before. When I'm in my cave, I'll be flipping through some old comic books or rifling through boxes, and I play. I just got like old like WPWR commercials playing, and right then I'm like Indiana Jones in in ancient wherever the hell in the last movie.
Yeah,
and he's like, let me stay here, Wombat. Leave me, Wombat. That's that me and Indy. We're a lot alike in that way.
It was kind of funny. I remember with that ending, there was a lot of people that thought, no, Indy should have stayed.
Yeah, that's
and there are other
bullshit.
people. Well, and there's other people who didn't. But maybe it's a little bit of a glimpse inside people's, leave me here with my commercials, Wombat.
I think it was that man. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna be coming back to that movie at some point doing our commentary track, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
but yeah, some of the no, they should have done this instead, and whatever was presented. I was like, well, I'm glad y'all ain't screenwriters, because that is just ass.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand the thing, because I mean, nostalgia, especially at my age, and nostalgia has a strong pull on me. But truly, at the end of the day, that's not, you don't want to live where you aren't. You know what I mean? And so I do think they made the right decision, but I can understand the temptation.
Yeah.
We haven't answered this question.
we went off on a tangent that maybe there is an answer buried in there somewhere. Look, you were talking recently about a video you saw, right? About like why movies look different.
Yep.
Why
don't movies look like movies anymore, or something like that? Yeah,
something to that effect. And look, in reference to that video, I was thinking about our discussion afterwards, and I was like, look, man, we get to have our moment where things look a certain way, and we take them in, having a certain aesthetic or whatever, but that aesthetic is not owed to us for the rest of our days. These things change. They change all the time, right? So, I can imagine that when the style of color changed with movies as we moved into the late 60s, 70s. People were like, why doesn't it look like Technicolor anymore? And I'm like, well, that's just how it is. And that's okay. We have those moments, and they will, again, it's like, look at Stranger Things. It's clearly indebted to that same raft of influences that we speak about, but it's doing something different. You're not going to mistake Stranger Things for a lost artifact from the 1980s. It is very much a 2010s, 2020s production. And that's just how it is.
My answer is a little bit of that, and a little something else also. Going back to Wicked, I feel, I'm glad for anyone who enjoyed the way that it looked. I did not. I thought it looked kind of bad, actually. It's very over processed.
Right.
That
is most movies these days, it feels like.
Yes, and it's kind of my point. Like it looks over processed. It doesn't look like they're actually in any sort of real reality. And there's a scene where Elphaba is attacking these people who are building the Yellow Brick Road. And I was listening to some podcast, and they were talking about this thrilling sequence, and I was like, no, like it wasn't for me. And it's because the way it was captured, none of it looked real. It looked very, very video gamey to my eyes. And that's a bummer. But like you said, time marches on, and for some people that will be a thrilling kind of sequence. And does that make me sad? Slightly. However, not only do I have the things that I love forever, that I will keep going back to, your Die Hards, your Star Wars, Speed, those for action and stuff.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of great stuff that's still coming out.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that every action movie that comes out now is going to look the way I wish it did, because it won't.
Yeah.
But there is still, thinking of the movies from this past year, I don't know, Companion really stuck with me. And I was like, I don't know this story. I thought it was filmed really well. It was pretty damn good. And then like something like Ballad of Wallace Island, which was like a very sweet human comedy that didn't look like it was filmed on the volume. You know, like that was great. Sinners. Caught Stealing. Yeah. Caught Stealing was like a real 90s gem. For anyone who's listening that misses those 90s kind of violent, funny, R-rated capers, totally recommend Caught Stealing. Yeah. And it's Sinners shot in 70 millimeter or IMAX or whatever it was. And it looks like it. You can tell that movie shot on film if you have the eyes for that, and that means something to you. It's sumptuous to look at, and it's a great film. Likewise, One Battle After Another, shot in VistaVision, and Begonia, by the way, which I really love too. I was like, this is beautiful. I remember thinking a couple times, this is beautiful. And then I learned afterwards that it was shot in VistaVision. And I was like, oh, I could tell. Like, I didn't know what it was, but I could tell it was filmic, and it just, you know, it had that thing that reminds me of the way I like movies to look. So like they're peppered in. I feel like, thank goodness, those things still are somewhat peppered in. Yeah. And while I wish more movies look like those things, I'm happy that many movies still do. That's kind of my feeling about it.
I like it. Christmas traditions, real quick.
Home Alone. Christmas Vacation is, I mean, I probably watch it like 5 times every year just because it's always on. And it's one of those miracle movies that you never get tired of. Yeah. And It's a Wonderful Life. I try to watch The Grinch animated. I love that one. And then, you know, on Christmas Day, they show A Christmas Story.
Right.
On TBS, like a marathon. And it's one of those things that I used to actually watch, and now I can't say I do, but it's become this comfort background thing for me as the day is going on. What about you? Well, I mean, I know Christmas is a little different for you, but like, are there like seasonal movies that you?
Yeah, well, Home Alone has been a tradition for a long time. Die Hard, that's what I always do. Die Hard with my older ones, and I was thinking about sprinkling in Violent Night this year because I really did like that.
I want to go back to that. Violent Night was one of those movies that, like, it leaned toward the sensibilities that I prefer for that kind of story. Whereas you could imagine the version that feels a little bit more like the streamer version,
right?
You know, kind of everything feels flat and not like it's real.
I mean, there's a sequel coming out, but I haven't heard neither hide nor hair about it.
I haven't either. But speaking of hair, that'd be kind of fun if the Easter Bunny got involved.
That's right. Yeah, I to the best of my knowledge, there is a. Let me just double check that. Let me Google it, Brian.
Yeah, there you go. And while you're saying that, I want to throw in there The Holdovers. Was a movie that came out last year, so brand new, but it felt like a movie that has existed for decades, and I really, really loved it. And that's something that I mean to revisit this month also.
So Violent Night 2 is coming out 1 year from today, exactly 1 year from today as we record this. So,
great.
So I will watch that. Give me that Santa. Give me Jim Hopper Santa.
Yeah.
I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alex, for that. Here is a note we got on Patreon, and this is from Hamza Moin, who says, I like the discussion about the decline of the TV opening credits theme. You mentioned the best openings, like The Simpsons, help calibrate the viewer. My question to you both, are there any modern shows that have themes/opening credits so fascinating you never hit skip? 2 from me. First is BoJack Horseman, a theme that shows the opening sequence changing every episode depending on what's happening in BoJack's life. E.g. friends dropping in and out of the opening based off BoJack's relationship with them. Great sequence. And second, Severance, the unforgettable visuals mixed with the creepy music and crosscuts really sets the mood for the show. You know, you watch more modern TV than I do, I realize.
That's quite a statement, because I feel like I don't watch a lot of TV, but you're right. I probably, I would say I have this thing that I do now where I will watch the opening credits thing because I feel like they prepare you. It's like an overture at the beginning in a way, gets you in the mood. I'll watch it on the first episode and then I'll skip it for all the other episodes till the final episode. Then I'll watch it one last time. It's like a weird thing that I do. The only one that I feel like I never skip is Only Murders in the Building.
Okay.
Because I love I never get tired of hearing that song. it's just so interesting. And the visuals are just really interesting and evocative and fun to look at. And sometimes they change. I know that would happen on Game of Thrones also. Like they would change depending on what lands they were going to feature in that episode. But otherwise, yeah, maybe I'll watch. Like I watched Pluribus once, and I was like, like I didn't need it, so I watched it once to know what it was. And
I feel like I want give me your modern Cheers theme. You know what I mean? Give me that, right? Like you hear that Cheers music and you cannot skip it.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, you're a goddamn communist.
Well, I agree with BoJack too, by the way, with Hamza. That's it's a great song. I don't know. It brings you in. It brings you into the tone, and of course, the stuff happening in the background is interesting. But that was a good one too.
Certainly on broadcast, the amount of program time per hour has dropped so precipitously that you're never going to get those minute-long themes anymore. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And that frustrates me because, it's like, in our day we had like the Magnum PI theme or the Chips theme or, and this stuff you remember.
Oh yeah.
When they brought back Magnum a couple of years ago and the show was fine. It was a good show. They chopped that music down to like 15 seconds if I'm being generous.
Right.
One of the greatest TV themes ever made.
Right.
They just murdered it with a machete, Ugh. Just unconscionable, Brian.
Yeah.
I miss that. I've said this before. Back in our day, we had these lush orchestral themes that would stretch over a minute and a half. Now, if you're lucky, you get.
What's the best version of that? Actually, it's more than that. But like Stranger Things, it's very brief.
But it's recognizable though.
It's recognizable. You could sort of hum it. It's a song, but it's very brief. It gets you in the right mood. It's short enough that I'm not going to skip it.
Right.
And I love the way that it does the title, and then the title, sort of comes at you and reveals the scene you're about to watch. That's kind of, to me, that's the perfect balance.
I feel like the streaming shows do that, right? I think broadcasts, just because of the limitations of having to slot in commercials, it's a whole different beast, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, because like even when Marvel was doing their shows, like I thought the Daredevil theme was like really good,
Mm-hmm.
And they have a version of that with the new Born Again series, but it's like, yeah, give us themes.
I agree.
I
agree.
Well, thank you for that, Hamza. Hopefully that answers your question.
You know what? By the way, I had something I kind of wanted to add to Alex's message real quick too.
Okay.
For missing things from the past.
Sorry, Brian, we've moved on.
Sorry, Alex. What's up, Zachy? No. It's a great opportunity when you're missing things from the past to look at the things that you've missed. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of looking at I write down everything that I watch, and I'm looking at what I watched this past year, and I saw Malcolm X for the first time, Spike Lee's Malcolm X. I saw this Nicole Kidman movie called Birth, that is a really interesting movie, but it's an incredible movie about grief that I will never forget. And that's, from like 2005 or something. Never seen it. And it's beautiful and it looks the way that I like movies to look. And it's one of the most impactful movie watching experiences I had this year. High and Low. I watched the original High and Low for the first time because of the remake that was coming out. So I would recommend that too. Like going back, I remember when I saw 2001 for the first time. I hadn't seen it till like my 30s, and then it was playing in a movie theater, and I was like, well, it just feels like something I should do. And when it ended, I was like, where's that been my whole life? Yeah, like I just really loved it, and I almost
feel like you saw it at the right age. I almost feel like
that could be part of it too. But like it's comes from an era. It looks like how I like movies to look. It just and so that's kind of a fun. Those are gifts. Yeah, they're like all these gifts that are waiting for you that you didn't even realize had been waiting for you to open them too. So I would say go back to those decades and see the ones you're like, oh, well, that's from a filmmaker I like, but I hadn't seen that, or that's I'd heard of that, and people recommend that. Maybe I should check that out. That's kind of a fun opportunity also.
Right. What'd you think of Malcolm X?
Oh, I can't remember if I talked about it, but I
don't remember. Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. It was just, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I couldn't believe I hadn't seen it. And one of my favorite types of movies and it doesn't necessarily have to do with length, but like when you begin in one place, like you see him as a young man and in his zoot suit, strutting down the street, and then the movie ends and you're like, dude, I just lived a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love movies like that where I feel like, well, it's only been like 3 hours, but like I really feel like I lived a lifetime.
Yeah.
Like you just, it's a special thing to experience. You also appreciate the filmmaking, just how expertly it's scripted and captured and edited to not make that feel like a slog, but feel like, I never questioned it, but I do feel like I woke up from someone else's life in the best way possible. It's amazing.
That's a film where, even if you don't know what happened to Malcolm X, the way the film stages the lead up to his assassination, it's ominous and it's portentous to the point where you're like, something bad's going to happen. You have a sense, and I think, to me, at least, I remember watching it the first time and hoping he'd be okay. Because you grow to love the character so much.
Absolutely.
It's
funny. I mean, it's a little different, but like, I think that way with Titanic. I mean, I love Titanic. I've seen it many, many times. I remember even in the theater, I saw it a couple times in the theater when it came out, and you still somehow are rooting for those characters to get out, to get away, or some of them do. So I guess a better example is when they're approaching the iceberg and the guy's like, oh crap, iceberg. And they're like, quick, turn. And I can hear the James Horner, that horn thing he does, and you're just watching the boat slow and you're like, they might make it this time.
Yeah.
That's good filmmaking.
I know.
You know what's going to happen, but every time you're like, maybe they won't hit it.
I just wish he'd built her a better boat.
So good.
Victor Garber, Mr. Anders.
Yep.
Okay, so have you tackled that question too?
You know what? But
can we move on now, Brian?
I reserve the right to go back, Alex. So just I'm speaking to Zachy actually in that tone. I'm saying, Alex, just wait. If I have something else to say, I'm going to say it because it was a great question.
It is a great question. Thank you for that. Thank you for all the letters. And
yes.
As always, you can contact us in a multitude of ways. We are always happy to hear from everybody. But we have several headlines to discuss, Brian.
Ooh.
Extra, extra.
What a scoop!
I should say every time that music plays, you obviously can't see, but people listening should know my head is bopping back and forth.
Oh, really?
Here is some sad news just to get things started, Brian. Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa passed away.
I just saw that.
Yeah. Talk about one of the most iconic voices and faces. Like, he's somebody who people probably did not know his name, but if you saw his face, you're like, oh, I know him.
Absolutely.
Right. I think best known for people of our vintage as Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat from 1995. But of course, he had a very long storied history. He appeared recently on The Man in the High Castle. He was in the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes. He was in The Phantom as the villainous Kabai Sang. He was also one of the regulars on the Don Johnson series Nash Bridges. Set right here in the Bay Area. 75 years old. This is in the Hollywood Reporter. He died from complications of a stroke. And we talk often on this show about character actors. Here was a character actor's character actor. He embodied a type. You could just slot him in, and you knew exactly what to expect, and you knew it was going to be at a certain level. I think you and I both talked about him being in Mortal Kombat and really being singularly distinctive in that movie.
Totally. It's it's kind of special that I had this thought when you were talking about these character actors, and it's it's sad and when they pass, but they have this special sort of thing where they will live forever. Like their work will continue to delight and entertain, and that's a really cool and magical thing.
Yeah, I was thinking about how they have that Mortal Kombat sequel film coming up. You know, it's a sequel to the one from a couple years back, and I'm like, I hope they acknowledge him.
Yeah.
You know, because the truth is, you wouldn't be getting these new movies if not for that movie from 30 years ago, really building out the mythology and showing it's possible to appeal to a wider audience. You know,
Right.
he will be missed. Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa. We have other headlines that are less complimentary. We referred earlier to Quentin Tarantino.
Uh-huh.
Quentin Tarantino, I think you and I would both agree, one of the greatest directors of all time.
Absolutely.
One of the greatest people of all time. I'm gonna say that is in doubt. So yeah, we should say that the interwebs have been piping up on this story for the last few days, which is that Quentin Tarantino. So this is while he's talking up the whole bloody affair release of Kill Bill.
Yeah. Which, are you going to see that?
I really want to. I really want to, but I don't know where I can find the 6 hours or whatever it is.
Quite a commitment. Yeah. I'm seeing it on Monday with Chad, and it's I over 4 hours, I think, and we're going at 8 p.m. and I'm like, whoo. That feels like if ever there was a one to start at 5 or 6 or something.
Right.
Yes.
So he appeared on the Bret Easton Ellis podcast.
Okay.
And so that right there, I'm starting to see the mix of ingredients at work here. He's talking about some of his favorite movies. He mentions, and this is I'm reading this from CNN. I mentioned that Paul Thomas Anderson's 2007 film "There Will Be Blood" was his 5th favorite movie of the 21st century, but he said he would have listed it first or second were it not for, quote, a big giant flaw in it, and the flaw is Paul Dano. He is weak sauce, man. Tarantino said he's a weak sister, and the Bret Easton Ellis said, yeah, Austin Butler would have been better. He said Austin Butler would have been wonderful in that role. Saying
I like Austin Butler, but
that role would not have worked for him. And he was like a little kid at the time, by the way. He says Paul Dano is just a weak, uninteresting guy. Now,
there's one more quote. Were you going to say the other one? Basically, he's like the weakest actor in SAG or something.
That's
like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you for that. I had many. And we should say he didn't stop there. He's like, oh, by the way, I hate Owen Wilson and Matthew Lillard. He sucks too.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, did Paul Dano kill Quentin's cat or something? Because geez, Louise, right? And I have many thoughts on this because I'm like, I'm picturing now. I have no reason to assume Paul Dano is anything but a decent guy. That's my sense. But I'm picturing him getting this news being like, what the F?
Like, what did I do?
Right?
Yeah.
Like this, and when you and I were texting about this story, I was like, maybe it's for the best that Quentin's like got one movie left, because I don't know who's going to want to work with him after this friggin' shit.
That's the thing, right? I mean, going back to how you even started this, like, he's an excellent filmmaker. Like, I love his movies. I do. Yeah. But like when you listen to interviews with him, especially long form ones on podcasts,
insufferable.
He's insufferable. He's his ego. It's one thing to have an ego, but his ego has an ego. Like it's insufferable. I don't even need to keep talking. You have the perfect word for it, and it's one of those things where you kind of have to. There's many reasons you have to separate art from artists, but his is just he is so obnoxious and insufferable, and it's gross. It's gross to say. Just sorry, no. I'm sorry. You good?
Well, I'll just add, and you can jump in. I'm like, there was a way, to convey the exact thought, that he did without sounding like an effing asshole. He'd just be like, I would have placed it higher, but Paul Dano didn't really work for me in that movie, and he just stopped there. You stop there, and it's not a headline.
Exactly. Like it almost felt personal.
That's what I'm saying.
Like saying someone who is not a bad actor is like the worst actor in SAG. It's like, it feels like he has it out for him.
That's right. It felt needlessly mean-spirited. I mean, he kept kicking. And then again, to me, it's just extra humorous that somehow Owen Wilson and Matthew Lillard catch some shrapnel too.
Yeah.
And I'm picturing Matthew Lillard just minding his own business, listening to this podcast, be like, "What the hell?" Like,
I know. And I'm kind of curious if Tarantino himself is in SAG. Just saying.
That's a good point. Yeah, so this has been, sort of making the rounds over in both traditional media and social media over the last few days, and I have to say, I mean, Quentin Tarantino has taken heavy fire. Some of it ridiculous, where it's like, oh, and his none of his movies are good either. Which, like, okay, let's pull that back a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I was talking about this in my class yesterday. I'm like, it doesn't matter how successful you are,
Mm-hmm.
you still need to act like a person. You still need to demonstrate empathy and just basic humanity, right? Yeah, nobody is saying you, like, if you don't like a guy's work, you don't like his work. That's fine, right? But there's a way to articulate that without just being an absolute jackass.
I agree. I mean, especially someone his age. I mean, you just tact, civility, like whatever. I mean, if you want to have that drunken conversation with your friends, I still would say that's not nice.
Right.
The way he's saying these things. Like you said, it's like, hey, if it didn't work for you, that performance, then it didn't work for you. There's a way to say that.
Yeah.
But to just be so nasty about it is just weird.
Well, and what's extra odd to me is, like, as soon as he says this, I'm like winding my mental Rolodex back, and I'm thinking of, like, the Paul Dano performances I've seen. Right, There Will Be Blood. I certainly did not think that was a bad performance, but Looper, Dumb Money, The Batman. What's the Brian Wilson movie?
Oh yeah, Love and Mercy. Great.
Love and Mercy.
He's great in that. Fablemans.
Fablemans.
The dad.
Right? I mean, there's not a performance he's given to me where I'm like, well, that sucked.
Yeah. Or did you say Little Miss Sunshine?
I didn't say Little Miss
Excellent
Sunshine.
in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. It's very strange. It just feels like there's more going on here or something.
And I guess that was my takeaway. Whatever I want to add to this is, like, look, it doesn't matter how successful you are. That doesn't obviate your need to just be decent in how you conduct yourself,
Yeah. And actually, I'm going to take that back. The more going on here, I don't know that that's necessarily true. I think what Tarantino has proved over the years is that he enjoys the sound of his own voice. So, like, if he is like, I don't like this actor, well, in fact, blah, 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 and I can just see him.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, but, like feeding off the energy of it and then just like starting to make it a performance itself. Him saying how much he doesn't like something.
Well, speaking of performances, I sent you this video of Norm Macdonald playing Quentin Tarantino from a SNL sketch in the 90s.
Yeah.
And not only was it, like, dead on.
Yeah.
I watched that clip and I was like, I think Norm kind of hates Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, right.
That was my thought, because it was so dead on that it really did feel like there was something going on there.
That's funny.
So that's worth seeking out if you're listening to this, haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But hey, that's not the only bizarre news coming out of Tinseltown this week. Here's something interesting. Did you know that there is a new Rush Hour movie coming out, Brian?
Yes, I've heard.
So
I heard there was demand.
Demand, not a groundswell, just from one very specific fan. So this is fascinating to me. There was a story in Semaphore on the Sunday before Thanksgiving. So this is like the 23rd, about how Donald Trump, you may have heard of him. He's the 47th president of these United States,
and the guy in Home Alone 2. Yes,
he known mostly for his cameo, or he would say starring role in Home Alone 2. So he is talking about his ties with the Ellison family, who are currently by virtue of Larry Ellison, father of David Ellison, who runs Paramount. Sort of he's getting mixed up in all these media things. And one thing that he had been stumping for. It says, this is a quote. This is from Semaphore. It says, Trump appears to want to revive the raucous comedies and action movies of the late 1980s to late 1990s. He's passionate, for instance, about the 1988 Jean-Claude Van Damme sports flick Bloodsport. I actually knew that. A person directly familiar with the conversations told Semaphore that the President of the United States has personally pressed the Paramount owner to revive another franchise from Brett Ratner, Rush Hour. Now, a little bit of backstory here. Brett Ratner, who is a notorious piece of shit, we're saying, sex predator, all the bad stuff,
Uh-huh.
has been effectively persona non grata in Hollywood for, gosh, close to 10 years at this point.
Yeah.
He got caught up in Me Too, right? So that would be like 2017. So he made the movie Tower Heist in Trump Tower.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then he is directing a documentary for Amazon about Melania Trump, for which Amazon paid $40 million.
Whoa.
Which, tell me that's not a bribe, right?
Oh, yeah. That's wild.
And so Ratner's in good with Trump, and now Trump wants Rush Hour 4. So this story breaks again. It's like the Sunday before Thanksgiving, and then the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, it drops that Paramount is going to distribute Rush Hour 4.
I heard that he would like it to happen. I didn't know it was actually
the ball is
rolling.
The ball is rolling now. I will say I remain somewhat skeptical that this movie does get made.
I mean, Jackie Chan, is in his 70s, right?
He's 70 plus, yeah, and I don't want Jackie Chan to die in service of Donald Trump's little boy from the Twilight Zone view of reality, because that's really what it is. I want Rush Hour 4. Make it.
That's very funny. That's very true.
Yeah. So this is via Puck and Kim Masters, who spoke with various sources and even had a brief text exchange with Brett Ratner. And get this, the source claims that the film will have a budget well over $100 million. Some of that money will come from Saudi Arabia, because of course it will. The country also backing David Ellison's bid for the Paramount Skydance acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery, which is not happening. We'll talk about that in just a second. Masters texted Ratner, who confirmed the budget is over $100 million. Paramount will reportedly be handling distribution for Warner Brothers in exchange for a percentage fee in the double digits. Okay, so I have many thoughts on this. First of all, I'm like, if it does get made, I hope Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker are like $50 million up front or no deal.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I mean, they're in a great position.
Yeah.
Right?
There's no movie without them. So number one, they should make their money up front. Second of all, $100 million plus on Rush Hour 4, almost 20 years after the last one. Are you guys freaking crazy?
Yeah, but I mean, how much did Beverly Hills Cop 8 cost?
Well, think about it. Beverly Hills Cop 4 went straight to streaming, which, despite the conversation you and I had, I think what may have been kind of the smartest play for that movie.
Oh, sure. Versus, having Netflix make it versus Paramount.
Right.
Yeah. It fits in their matrix a little bit better.
Yeah, and because what happened with Axel F is that it burned white hot for about a week, and then it dropped down, which, I suppose is not that surprising, but 100 million plus, I think that once you factor in salaries, everybody involved, you're looking at close to 200 million would be my guess.
Totally, I'm sure.
And I'm just like, the people forget the last one didn't even do that well.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Right? Like,
I'm not going to pretend like I don't enjoy those movies. Like, I enjoyed them in their time.
Well, here's my thing. If this is Rush Hour 4 directed by literally anybody other than Brett Ratner, then I'm interested.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, there's a lot going on with this specific.
That's my point, right? And it almost feels like the specific mix of ingredients that this is like a witch's brew. You know what I mean? It's like this brewing cauldron, and you just is like rising out of this bubbling broth.
Yeah.
The specific mix of ingredients.
Great imagery, Zach. And even this. I like that. That's good.
You're practically encouraging people to boycott the movie.
Well, that's the you know what? I didn't even thought about it that much, but as with everything these days, it's gonna be political.
I know.
Your support or your non-support, if you like it, if you don't like it, it's just
absolutely
nothing cannot be politicized these days.
Exactly, right? Because if the movie gets made, there's no way Trump doesn't get brought into it. And last I checked, he's a fairly polarizing feller. I don't get it. I was talking in my class yesterday. We were talking about late night talk shows, And I was saying that, this is a format that's probably dying out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I was talking about Colbert getting canceled. And then I said, if anything, Trump has sort of put gas in the tank for shows that were probably nearing the end of the natural lifespan of the format.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, because now it's become political.
Right.
So in other words, Jimmy Kimmel probably got like 4 more years on his show than he might otherwise have had.
Right. Right.
And so, yeah, to that point, like if they announced Rush Hour 4 anyway, I still would have been like, well, I think that's a dumb idea because I just don't think there's an audience for it.
Right.
But now you're announcing it, and everybody knows the specific list, the sequence of events leading to it. I think there's going to be even less of a desire from a lot of folks who might otherwise have been interested.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that there's enough like Trump fans who are going to be like, we got to go watch the new Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker movie. I don't know.
I'm just so curious what Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan are thinking. Like maybe they're, on their rocking chairs on the porch, just enjoying life. Like, we got to do what now?
Well, look, each of them made something in the neighborhood of 25 million for the last one. So I'm like, well, you better ask for at least that.
Oh yeah, they
right?
Absolutely.
So if they can make a bank, look, that's fine. Because as you said earlier, look, I mean, they have all the leverage.
Mm-hmm.
I think the really kind of shitty part of this is make Rush Hour 4, but it has to be directed by Brett Ratner.
Right.
F that guy every which way.
Yeah. No, he's a bona fide creep.
Yeah. He was a well-known piece of shit long before he got Me Too.
I know.
Right. So that's what really irks me about this. If it was announced with anybody else directing, I'd be like, well, sure, I guess.
Right.
This the Trump of it all to one side. I'm like, I'm not going to root for anything that Brett Ratner directs.
Right. Right.
But this is the world we live in.
That was literally the feeling I was having. Like somehow this is the world we're living in.
Will it happen? I as I said, I remain very circumspect.
I mean, dude, all of Jackie Chan's action in the Karate Kid Legends had to take place in the dark because it wasn't him.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So, and by the way, of course, because he's 70 something, like that's not taking anything away from him. I
do not want him doing his own stunts. I do not want him.
Yeah. Like, no, he's one of the best that ever was. Like that, that stands forever, but it's just at some point you reach a certain age and that's just the way life heads, and like
time is undefeated.
Yeah. And so it's like, I don't know, let's not break him.
I mean, that is just fascinating, right? Like the sense of like, and this is not a Trump exclusive phenomenon, but like, oh, let's bring back this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, but like time moves forward. Like you can't, like this is why I've been saying all along, I do not want Lethal Weapon 5.
Same. I agree.
Right. And for a whole host of reasons, among them being that both of these men are demonstrably older, and I don't want to watch them running around and dodging gunfire and stuff because they just shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, that's a good comp too, because I mean, I can't really get behind Mel Gibson these days. Like there's an era of him that's kind of locked in and protected for me just because it's a little grandfathered, I suppose, the Lethal Weapons and the Bravehearts and the whatever, but like, I just can't get on board with that guy anymore, and so it brings us, it's a great comp. It's a similar elements. It'd be very complicated and maybe it's best to just leave it be.
I'm surprised Trump isn't leaning on somebody for Lethal 4, considering he's like buddies with Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson is like the ambassador to Hollywood, remember?
Well, yeah, that's right. I forgot about it. But it'd be funny too. And he's just like, yeah, and Richard Donner has to direct. And like, sir, he passed away several years ago. I said he has to direct.
Bring him back.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hey, real quick, while we're talking about franchises coming back, here's one whose future may actually be in question. And this just fascinates me on a whole host of levels. Fast and Furious 10, Fast X, as all the cool kids call it, that ended on somewhat of a cliffhanger.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I'm almost quite literally him going down a dam.
And so we damn indeed, because and it just damn, right?
Yeah.
Because ever since that movie came out, Universal and Vin Diesel cannot seem to get their act together as far as getting the last Fast and Furious movie. Even forget like starting filming. Like they don't have any idea what they're doing.
Well, I mean, yeah, how do you wrap that up? And I think there's realities that, right? Like Universal's like, this is what we want to spend. And you need to like bring everything to a satisfying conclusion. And I think Vin Diesel's got ideas of things he wants to do, and that conflicts creatively with other people, or at least it has for the past several years. And that's led to
this is the problem, right? So the last film was made during it was supposed to come out in 2020, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't remember.
No, it was supposed to come out. See, I don't even remember. It got pushed because of COVID.
Yeah.
So I think it was supposed to come out in 2021. No. Wait, that's Fast 9. See, I'm getting. Yeah, so Fast 9 got delayed. That was supposed to be 2020. That came out in 2021.
Oh, I see.
That's right. And then Fast X got, Justin Lin dropped out and Louis Leterrier jumped in and did a heck of a job.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Louis Leterrier is a very talented director, and he did what was required.
Mm-hmm.
However, the movie cost like $11 bajillion, I think is the final accounting. It cost $378 million, which is just, I mean, well, yeah, you're gonna have trouble making that back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Universal is not wrong to be like, hey guys, can we bring it down a shade?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so there's all this chaos about whether this next one is going to happen even, and it's, to me, this is the net result of basically having Vin Diesel as the boss of bosses when it comes to the Fast franchise, because I'm like, I think this is a man who loves the smell of his own farts. And he views Dom Toretto in much more iconic terms than I think the rest of the world does. This is my opinion.
Sure.
I think Dom's a cool character.
Yeah.
But I think what we have seen is that as we move further away from the Paul Walker films, Dom becomes less interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. The way that they bounced off one another was an enormous part of the magic.
Yeah, so there is a book out right now, which I have not read yet, but I very much want to, about the whole making of the Fast and Furious franchise. Mm-hmm. It's called Welcome to the Family, but it specifically looks at the lead up to events where Justin Lin, I mean, he is sort of like the MVP of these films, because he went from Tokyo Drift to just its highest highs. Mm-hmm. And so him coming back to do, he did Fast 9. He was going to do 10. The fact that he chose to walk away, rather than just indulge in the crazy, that is revealing in and of itself. Mm-hmm. And it's very funny where it's just describing his like sort of the soul deadening process of trying to work through story beats with Vin.
Right. Because he had a lot of demands for the story.
Yeah.
Right.
And it is weird, because I think they have boxed themselves in, because I don't think you can't go back to a, the Fast and the Furious kind of scenario.
Which is funny, because they keep bringing more characters in. Yeah. Which is fun, but also when you think about the I don't know, the economics of that.
Yeah.
Like, so now you have all the, your Helen Mirrens and your Brie Larsons and your Jason Momoas and there's just so many people to cater to now. I mean, that, just thinking of that in terms of budget alone before you even get to stunts and set pieces and things,
Yeah, I feel like they've created such an expansive mythology that it's I mean, it is hilarious. Like whenever we talk about these movies, we have our tongue firmly in cheek,
Mhm.
because it's all pretty silly.
Yeah.
They're fun.
It's part of its
sometimes.
charm, I think.
Yeah. When they're in space and doing all that kind of stuff. And it's always amusing to remember where it all started.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, the fact that we got next year is the 25th anniversary of the first movie coming out, and there is no illusions of trying to make that date.
Right.
Is itself very telling,
Right.
I don't know. I'm sort of the behind the scenes of this whole thing is almost more interesting to me at this point.
It's that book sounds really interesting, but there's part of me that thinks the story isn't finished yet.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it literally isn't.
Well, yeah. It's I don't know. It's kind of like missing its third act, So I mean, I am curious to listen to it or read it or something at some point, but I am curious where this is all heading.
I saw that Vin Diesel put out a post on Instagram or some such where he was congratulating Dwayne Johnson for his work in the Smashing Machine. And he's like, my brother Dwayne, and he did this, and it's such a like fake ass kissy.
Feels very performative, yeah,
very much so. And I'm like, both of these two muscle bound behemoths are the most, fragile people,
right.
Based on what we hear in these,
right.
How can you be like this?
I know.
Just the like contain your ego.
Yeah.
Your massive frames cannot contain your egos.
It would just make life so much easier for so many people.
Seriously, so odd. So Fast X Part 2 or Fast 11, whatever the hell they're going to call it, is arriving very slowly.
Yeah, well, wasn't there talk, or maybe it's Vin Diesel, so who knows, but saying they want to bring it back to the beginning where it's about kind of LA street racing.
Look, I mean, if you're wrapping things up, you kind of got to go in that direction.
I would love that.
But I don't think that's what the audience wants. I will say, and I can't remember if we talked about this, but I mean, there was talk of bringing back the Brian O'Connor character.
I read that. I don't know how you do that, but
I don't know how you do it, but I do think you need to do that.
You have to somehow, because as far as we understand, he's alive and he's just kind of watching, his kids.
Yeah, it's
back at home while all these adventures are going on.
It's gotten preposterous because literally, I think it's the 9th movie ends with like they're at the barbecue and it ends with like Brian's car pulling up.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, WTF? Come on, like,
yeah,
like especially now that they've brought back Jordana Brewster, so she's going on all the missions.
I know. I think they maybe should have just
like look. It's been 12 years since Paul Walker passed. I think you can recast the role and people will go with it.
Yeah, actually, I don't know at this point because they've stretched it out as long as they had. I don't
have one of his brothers play it and maybe do a little digital,
futzing, which they kind of did in one of them, right?
They did that in Furious 7, which was his last one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you can't. I said at the time, I was like, I think you need to kill Brian, otherwise.
I think so too. That's probably what they should have done.
In my opinion, this is weird, right? Like, with Fast and Furious, they left Brian alive as a tribute to Paul Walker. With Black Panther, they killed T'Challa as a tribute to Chadwick Boseman.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we needed to flip those.
I remember you saying that, about Black Panther. Yeah,
I still feel that. I think it was a really stupid decision to kill off T'Challa. That's my opinion. And I think Marvel's realizing it because I think they're mark my words, on the other side of these Avengers movies, you're gonna have a T'Challa.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that's gonna work, but I think Marvel's recognizing that.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, we got one more piece of news I wanted to bounce off of you.
We got this, and then I got one thing that I think might actually surprise you.
Okay.
And it's a happy thing, so I'll save that for the end.
Interesting. Okay. Well, this is not a happy.
Yeah,
thing,
that's
right?
why I'm going to save it.
So, Warner Brothers has been on the chopping block for several months now. It's David Zaslav had announced a while ago that Warner Brothers Discovery was in the process of splitting.
Mm-hmm.
So the studio and streaming arm was going to go in one direction, and the television, all the linear cable, was going to go in a different direction. And they were taking various bids. And I would say, David Zaslav has not done an exceptional job running that place. That's me. I don't have experience running a multinational multimedia studio, but I think I could do a better job. That's all I'm just saying.
I agree.
I don't mean to get all Vin Diesel, but I could do it. But regardless, there have been many folks bidding. So this is we had Comcast and Paramount and Netflix. And again, we talk about how everything gets political. Paramount had the blessing of Donald Trump. And so there was this expectation that regulatory approval would be no sweat. Because Paramount and the Ellisons, they're all they're cozy with Trump, and so it would be they could just glide through. But Netflix made a deal, made an offer, I should say, and Warner Brothers has accepted that deal. So Netflix would, if this passes muster, Netflix would take on the studio and streaming. But all the cable stuff, CNN, everything else, that would get spun off. That would become its own company, separate company. So potentially, we're looking at Netflix being the home of Bugs Bunny and Batman and Harry Potter and Boromir. I'm just going to throw... I don't know why Boromir. And this makes me sad.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad. I think Paramount, I would have rather not had Paramount take over this. So like, of the options, I suppose Netflix is a better bad option.
Yeah.
But I just don't like what's about to happen, which is another legendary studio being stripped down for parts and just subsumed by a streaming company. A streaming company that has, by the way, made it very clear that they don't like theatrical.
Yeah, I mean, I had the quote because I was like, I have to get this right. Ted Sarandos said that he thinks the theatrical experience is, quote, outmoded for most people.
Which is a hell of a thing to say in a year where, just looking at Warner Brothers, they have performed exceptionally.
Yes, and by the way, for Netflix, their K-pop Demon Hunters was like a phenomenon in theaters.
Yeah,
and
it's you and I spend so much time on this show talking about how important the theatrical experience is, and seeing what sure feels like it feels like we're looking down the road to another stake being driven into the industry. That's obviously concerning. But again, I just don't, we talked on this show about Disney absorbing 20th Century Fox, and I wasn't thrilled about that.
Yes. Yeah. You're losing voices in a way, right? Like where you have more studios, you have more creative executives and, people with different tastes and interests and things. And so you get more variety out in the marketplace. But if,
that's right.
People keep gobbling these things up and then there's only like 3 places left, everything's going to start to have like the same sort of feeling, and it just, look, sometimes I think I get a little hard on streamers. I don't tend to love the stuff that they put out, but they do put out good things from time to time. But like, I don't like their ethos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like Frankenstein, this and Wake Up Dead Man, the new Knives Out movie, 2 big movies from 2 big important filmmakers in this moment at Netflix. And those filmmakers want their movies in theaters, and Netflix is like, yeah, sure, I guess. And they put them out in like 600 theaters.
Right.
I live in friggin' Los Angeles and I don't even have these things playing near me.
Wow.
And I mean, they're around. I could make the effort, but like the fact that it's like, okay, yeah, sure, we'll put your thing in theaters, but like it's the most half-hearted attempt at doing that with these people where theatrical means something to them. And if you're going to do it for just 2 weeks, as just like a way to make those people happy, and then you'll put it on your service, well, then do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Don't just willy-nilly put it out there in like 600 theaters, because then that tells me how you really feel about it.
Right.
Like that's what makes me feel. And recently there were news stories about, Zach Kreger, who made Weapons, one of the most exciting theatrical movies of this year. He was developing something with Netflix, but when he couldn't be assured that his next movie he was developing with them would be in theaters, he walked.
Right.
And this is really telling. The Duffer Brothers. like Netflix golden children.
Mm-hmm.
After Stranger Things was this phenom success at Netflix, they make their next deal elsewhere.
Yeah.
Because they were not assured that the movies they worked on would have theatrical releases.
Right.
And so if those two people that Netflix wanted to work with didn't feel safe enough with having theatrical experiences with the stuff they were working on, that doesn't make me feel good about that company taking over Warner Brothers.
Very telling.
To be fair, to give the whole context of what Sarandos, when he was talking about theatrical experience being outmoded, he also said he doesn't have a problem with theatrical, period. For him, it's the theatrical windows.
Right. He wants them shorter.
Yes, because he doesn't find them consumer friendly in this day and age.
And that's friggin' horseshit, man. Because if this last year proved anything, specifically with regards to Warner Brothers, is people will show up. Sinners was making bank long after it was on streaming.
Yes. So, like, it's just a swirl of feelings in my mind where it's like, okay, I mean, I half believe him that he's like, yeah, theatrical. Like, I'm not going to kill theatrical. However, he kind of reveals where his heart is. And so it's theatrical, it's half-hearted. So if he's going to do his, a big Warner Brothers release, like the next The Batman, part 2 is going to come out for 2 weeks, maybe in 1,000 theaters, I don't know, but it's going to be on Netflix in 2 weeks.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, that's my fear.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the world we're headed into. I think we should treat any assurance about theatrical not being in danger with a a fair amount of suspicion.
It's certainly going to look different.
I think so. And I think it's very short-sighted. As far I should say, I think all the Snyder bros, I'm sure, are like, "Hey, Snyderverse about to come back." I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even think about that.
I'm sure they're thinking that because Zack Snyder made a bunch of stuff at Netflix, but he ain't at Netflix anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you got to imagine too. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people losing their jobs.
Yep.
That's going to be a nightmare. As if Hollywood hasn't suffered enough with that. And like, I mean, if I'm just being real, like I don't really tend to love the creative departments over at Netflix, at least when it comes to their films. They put out these things that maybe have some, name actors in them or whatever, and then they are a blip 1 week and then they disappear forever the next. And that seems to be okay with them. They're not like, we've got to rethink this. They're fine with it. That's right. And so I don't love the idea of those people now taking over Warner Brothers, because then it's like you need the people who are passionate about risks. Like, your one battle after another's and your Sinners and your whatever. And maybe that's not going to fit their algorithm.
Yeah. I mean, look, right now, basically we're setting ourselves up for a world where you've got Apple and Amazon and Netflix as like the preeminent media companies, because they've got the bottomless wallet to be able to be that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man, the idea, like I'm still not crazy about James Bond being owned by Jeff Bezos. And something about DC Comics being absorbed into this massive streaming company. I don't know. Here's me longing for a reality that just does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a little bit old man yelling at the cloud, I guess, but I miss the days when these companies were self-sufficient on their own. I mean, Warner Brothers used to be its own thing before it was getting passed around. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when AOL bought Time Warner.
Yeah.
And from then to now, how many corporations have taken a whack,
Yeah.
So we're looking at least a year, possibly more, before this thing even goes through, if it goes through.
Right.
Because I have to imagine that the Paramount folks are going to pitch a mighty fit and lean into their government connections.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And I should say that's not how it's supposed to be, by the way. Regulatory approval is not supposed to hinge on who the
Relationships,
president happens to be buddies with.
grease and
We're not,
palms. Yeah.
it's not supposed to be like a junta situation, but here we are.
Yeah.
So I suppose there's like a TBD element here, but at least initially, I know it was inevitable because the studio was up for sale anyway, and it was going to land at one of three options. I'm not crazy about what it says about where we're headed.
Yeah.
But that's me.
It's funny in the movie Sentimental Value, which I talked about earlier. So Skarsgård plays, an older director, and the way that he's getting his movie made is he's getting it made at Netflix.
Okay.
And so he's at this junket and he's sitting with, Elle Fanning, and he's being interviewed. And the interviewer is like, so, I mean, are you going to try to have a theatrical release? Have you talked with Netflix about trying to have a theatrical release for this movie? And Skarsgård's like, of course we're going to have a theatrical release. What are you talking about? And then you see like his producer like, well, that's an open discussion, but we are feeling very good about that. And it's just like such a sad reality, like he just wasn't even aware that, of course, I'm making a movie. It's going to be in theaters.
Right.
Like,
well, I think it's very telling that like when Rian Johnson is talking about the future of Knives Out, Netflix doesn't really seem to be part of the calculus.
Oh, tell me more.
Right. I mean, he signed a contract for 2 movies, and this is second of 2. He's not talking about like, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to working at Netflix again. He's speaking of Knives Out from a framing that sure seems like it's not, Netflix isn't going to be in the mix anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah, make of that what you will.
Yeah, I mean, look, who knows? You know what I mean? They always like hoping for the best, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't love Warner Brothers used to be one of those exciting studios. They really believed in filmmakers, and
right.
Who would give all that money to make a Mad Max sequel all those years later and then wind up letting them make the most gonzo, crazy, unexpected thing that ends up getting nominated for Best Picture.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we need places that will do bonkers things like that.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem to be what Netflix is about. And so that just everything that I care about with movies and get excited about with movies, Netflix isn't that. And they have their place. I subscribe to Netflix. I like a lot of things that are on Netflix, but I feel like they do what they do well. And I would like there to be these studios to continue doing what they do well.
Yeah.
But
the other thing is, assuming this goes through, look, I mean, HBO Max is going to be RIP.
Dude, so we're going to have to like pay $50 to subscribe to some sort of mega streaming service soon, right?
Yeah. Because I mean, obviously that's going to get absorbed into Netflix,
Yeah.
Anyway, give me something happy, Brian. Give me a squirrel that water skis.
Our last story tonight. This is from StarWars.com.
I have not seen this. You're breaking news with me.
I'm reading now. Experience the original 1977 film with a theatrical re-release in 2027.
Get the F out of here.
On February 19th, 2027, we'll celebrate the 50th anniversary of Star Wars with a re-release of the 1977 original back for a limited time in theaters everywhere.
So like the original.
The original.
Wow.
There had been rumors on Reddit.
Yeah, I'd been seeing stuff, yeah.
Yeah, there was some leaks of some cleaned up
remastering
original footage. Yeah. And looks like they were true.
Wow.
So, I mean, after decades of people, ever since 1997, people just begging, please, just, restore the original versions. We want to see the original versions, and by gum, it's going to happen.
That is, first of all, I'm glad that version will exist in they've made an effort to preserve it. So that's all good. But I also feel like they missed their window a little bit on this because
yeah. I think people will get excited about it, but if they had done this like 10, 15 years ago or something.
Yeah, I mean the special edition versions have been in essence. Some version of the special editions have been in place for 30 years now. By the time this comes out. And like, I mean, we're talking about a couple generations where that's Star Wars.
Yes, so the special editions. Yes,
the special editions. That's Star Wars, and it'll be like, well, where's the little Gleep Glops? You know, in Mos Eisley, and you know, what are the other changes? I can't even remember. Where's where's the scene with Biggs before they go to fight the Death Star? You know,
or the Solo, come out Solo.
Yeah, exactly.
Jabba thing. Yeah.
So they better have the fat Irish guy in that. Put it in, but pre VFX.
But it's funny because I did get those despecialized versions.
Oh, okay.
You know, where the people online, it's been a project where they've scanned 35 millimeter prints and and they've made the closest approximation of
painstakingly.
Yeah, of HD versions of the original Star Wars films. And when you watch them, some of it you are like, oh, this is, like they I don't like all the extra stuff that they'd have added in, the scenes you don't need, all the, like you say, the greebles and things moving around that don't fit in quite well to my eyes.
Right.
However, the fight, all the dog fights and stuff outside the Death Star at the end.
Oh, sure.
Those look pretty good, the way that they've enhanced them. And when you look at the originals, it's really nice to have those preserved because those were pioneering, special effects in their day. But they do look pretty old and pretty slow to our eyes now, especially after watching the special editions for 30 years.
I think Lucas just made this into more of a thing than it really needed to be.
Yes.
Right?
It didn't need to be just put it out and have it. You know what he should have done? He should have put it out as the bonus feature like he did, but not with half a middle finger sticking up. You know what I mean?
Where you want it here? Let me bite my ass with it first. Here you go.
Yeah, for people who don't understand what we're saying, like people were begging for the original versions, and he's like, "Fine, I'll put them as a bonus feature on the DVD release." But what he gave us were these scans they had done for the Laserdisc in the mid '80s.
Yeah, they were not anamorphic, right?
Yeah, they're not anamorphic. They look like crap.
And they were SD.
Yeah, and they're SD, yes.
Yeah.
So it was sort of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because no matter what, any future films were going to, use the special edition versions as the canonical, thing to spin off of.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever, at least just make it available. Why turn it into a site of conflict, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his whole thing, I remember him saying like, "Well, I'm sorry you fell in love with my unfinished movie," and he was being kind of a pain in the ass about it.
Right.
I mean, he's entitled to do whatever he wants, but it became more of a thing than it needed to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess my point is like, this news, while cool, I would have been excited 20 years ago.
Yeah, and I do think it's neat. But I don't
neat.
think it's going to be the event that it could have been.
I definitely don't think that.
And like you said, I mean, there's a generation of people that know it a different way that are probably going to see this and go, like this feels like, like I'm watching a work print of something before it's finished.
Yeah. So I'm glad they're doing it. I think for if nothing else, for the historical preservation aspect of it, I'm glad that it's happening.
I think it's cool. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wait, what besides the things that have been added? Oh, well, Han shooting first. Yes. I'm trying to think what's been taken away that will be back. Some of the creatures in
like the werewolf looking guy.
Yeah.
In the cantina. I think that's the only thing that comes to mind.
Yeah. There's some slight, very, very, I mean, imperceptible violence that was toned down. Do you remember that? Like there were people that had like squibs. It wasn't blood, obviously, but it was like kind of these. Their holes would blow in their uniforms when Han and Luke are disguised as stormtroopers, and they cut some of that stuff down.
They cut those, and also they changed the language from English to Orabesh.
That's right.
It's all like super nerdy stuff that most people aren't going to care about.
Yeah, I think the only thing that is really going to be perceptible is all the action at the end will feel a little different.
Yeah, although, I mean, the CGI in some of those shots has not held up great either. Certainly, there's that one shot where it's almost like a close up of the X-wings as they get to the Death Star. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
And it looks very late '90s CGI.
Oh, interesting. I guess I haven't thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's any effects, whether practical or visual or digital, you're gonna encounter that.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm gonna take this news, Brian, in the spirit you intended it, which is, hey, at least history is being preserved, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm looking forward to it. Any chance to watch Star Wars, especially OT Star Wars, in the theater? I mean, when Return of the Jedi came out a couple years ago, that was like one of my favorite experiences that year.
Yeah. May the Force be with us. May the Force be with us, everyone. That wraps up this episode. What do you think? We covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we did. This was fun.
We got angry. We got emotional. We got happy. We covered all the bases.
We learned a bit about ourselves.
We went on all kinds of emotional journeys by this moment right now, right here.
Mm-hmm. Right here, right now. There's no other place I want to be.
Hey, let us know your thoughts about any of the topics we covered. We certainly ran the gamut. You can email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and message us there. As always, if you like what we're doing, please go to Apple Podcasts and leave a review, leave a star rating. If you're listening to us on YouTube, please subscribe and hit like, and obviously leave comments because we do try to respond to those on the show whenever we can. Hey, we also have a Patreon page, Brian.
Yeah, if you head over to patreon.com/moviefilmpodcast and hit subscribe for only $5 a month, you'll find every commentary we've ever done and every episode moving forward absolutely ad-free. Our free feed will always be available, but this is our way of providing what we believe is the most satisfying way to enjoy the show. So no random ads or interruptions butting in. Plus, your subscription goes a long way in helping to support us and helping to sustain producing the show. So if you're interested and able, please head over to patreon.com/moviefilmpodcast and subscribe. We'd be very grateful.
And if you're looking for me online, you can find me on social media at Zacky's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner. You can also find my reviews at the San Francisco Chronicle and also at IGN and The Wrap. Brian, what about you?
You can find episodes I've written of Puppy Dog Pals and Young Jedi Adventures streaming on Disney+.
Well, with that, on behalf of my partner Brian Hall, my name is Zaki Hassan. This has been Movie Film 331. We'll catch you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about the movies. Movie Film Podcast on your